Hey, what's up with it, guys? Hey, welcome back to another video. Now, obviously, this is a little bit of a different game here. We are playing Final Fantasy 14. Now, don't click away yet. Final Fantasy, even though you guys might be like me and the first time you hear those words, you think it's a turn-based game. This is actually their MMORPG, and I did try this out when it first came out, very briefly. Honestly, don't even really remember any part of what I had played, but I got this again. I got basically the newest expansion. There's been like 4 expansions since I played, and I figured I would kind of draw some conclusions, and you know, I have a few days played. We just hit level 30 right here. You can see, and the level cap is 80 in this game, I believe, right now with this current Shadowbringers, I think is what it's called, Shadowbringers expansion. But if you're like me, you've played WoW forever, and you kind of think and compare every game to WoW, and I figured it would be helpful to kind of share veteran WoW player's perspective and being a noob at this game and kind of drawing some conclusions to help you guys, and maybe answer some of the basic questions if you're interested in kind of starting this game. Now, preface to this, I have not PvP'd in this game because I think it just unlocks at level 30 or somewhere around where I'm at, but I haven't played any of it yet, and I haven't done any raids because I don't have access to those yet either. So with that being said, I haven't played any of the end game stuff, so that's kind of still up in the air, but I can say the first 30 levels have actually been really seamless and really enjoyable, much more enjoyable than I actually thought. I actually am genuinely having fun just leveling and playing and going through the story. And I honestly, you know, just had a good time with it. Now, one other thing regarding the story is I actually am the kind of person that skips the cutscenes, so I can't really speak to the actual story itself or the lore, but a lot of people really like the storyline in this game, so if that's something that you're into, a lot of people really hype up that aspect of the game. So, but I can't really personally tell you that, oh, it's so awesome and I love the storyline, because I don't really know. So let's go ahead and get into it, the things that I do like. The MSQ, this is, I believe, the main story quest, I think is what it stands for. Main scenario quest, it says it right there. Main scenario quest. This is like the main equivalent of like a war campaign type thing. This is like what you're following through, and it does a really great job of keeping you on track and keeping you going to level appropriate zones and leveling up really efficiently your first time through. So this helps a lot because you're not having to think and figure out where to go and how do I get to this city and all this stuff. This stuff, you just click on this and it will pop up, and you can find a little marker and travel around and get to where you need to for the main storyline quest that keeps you just progressing through. You can see we're level 30, and this is level 25, but it keeps you in the ballpark where stuff is actually level relevant to you, and you know, you don't get steered too far in the wrong direction and get stuck killing boars for 3 days. So I really like this a lot. This little quest underneath, from what I understand, is like my class quest type stuff. So I'm an archer, so these are like my archer quests that will come up here that I need to go back and do as well. This one just unlocked at level 30, but this is really great because this is separate. You know, our normal quest log is over here on the right, and this is separate and helps just keep you on track. So if nothing else, you just focus on these quests and don't worry about anything else, and you'll progress relatively quickly through the game. And I really like that a lot. Coming to a new game and trying to learn all the different cities and how to get there and all that stuff can be really overwhelming, and this does a really great job of kind of taking that headache out and just letting you play the game and enjoy it and have fun. In that same note, there are dailies that you can do, like daily dungeons and things where you have, I already did this one, but you can queue for these anywhere out in the world, and these will give you bonus experience. So you also are basically getting really good experience while you level if you do these couple things, and they're relatively enjoyable too. You get loot. It's very similar to WoW in the sense it's like dungeon type stuff, but these are great, and you can start doing these really early on, which I actually really like. But it is a daily thing. It's not like you can't just keep queuing for dungeons to get all this bonus experience. It's a daily thing, but I do really like that as well because it's a really good way to kind of mix it up and keep out in the world questing and running through the world and doing stuff, and then also getting to zone into these dungeons and get bonus experience. Makes the leveling just feel really good and just fluid and seamless. Now, in that same vein, there's these little like diamond looking things. I can't remember the name of what these actually are called, but these are all over the world, and they're basically the equivalent of flight paths. The first time you run up to any of these, you right click and you like attune yourself to them, and then wherever you are out in the world, you can click on any of these that you've attuned to and teleport right to them. Now, I actually really enjoy this system a lot because it's similar to Flight Pass in the sense that you have to travel to that zone to use them. However, it takes away the travel time, which the travel time is actually, if you think about it, is not very enjoyable. If you're sitting on a wind rider for 6 minutes, it's not fun and it's not enjoyable content that you're like literally going to get up and walk away and go do something and come back. This is actually a really great way of still forcing you to kind of go through and journey through the continents by foot, and then being able just to teleport to them later on. I actually really like the system. The more I play it, the more I enjoy it, and it really lets you just spend most of your time actually playing the game rather than traveling around. So that's a really, really big pro for me, and helps a lot with just getting around the zones, especially when you're newer to the game and you're trying to figure out like how to get out of cities, things like that. You can just teleport to wherever your next quest quest marker is. And the other thing, kind of, I guess, in like the vein of ease and things like that, is that you have a lot of bag space as well. These things do also cost money to teleport to, but they're relatively cheap and you get a good amount of money early on from quests and things like that. So the bag space, everything auto loots to you, and not really needing gold for anything. Your skills are just automatically learned. All of those things that are generally kind of a daunting task to deal with in a new game when you don't have any money, you don't have money for bags, you can't carry your quest items, things like that. All of those are not things you have to worry about. You auto loot everything. All your quest items are going to be stored. You have bags, but you have a ton of bag slots. Like I'm like not even halfway through my bag slots, and I haven't sold to a vendor a single time yet at level 30. And I have plenty of gold. I honestly don't even know how much gold I have. 68,000 gold. Which it's not the same as like WoW gold, but I have a lot of gold. These little flight path things are like this one is 115 gold, and I have 68,000. So you can constantly just be using these all the time to get around the world really easily, and it's so far has been really, really great, and I really like that a lot. The last part I was going to mention as far as kind of ease is there's a HUD layout button in the actual options of the game, and this lets you move and adjust the UI however you want, just default in the game. So this is a big pro to me because I'm very specific about how I like my UI laid out, and I don't have to download a third-party add-on or something to actually get that done. And it's super, super easy. It makes a lot of sense, very intuitive, and you can just do it right away. You don't have to, spend a bunch of time trying to figure out how to make your UI look like something that you want or something that you're used to. And I really like that a lot. That's a really big pro to me because that's usually something that is a struggle for me when I switch to a new game. I'm so unfamiliar with the UI, and it's usually so difficult to adjust and change it. And you don't have to go and download a bunch of third-party add-ons, which I really like a lot as well. Now, on to the things I'm kind of looking forward to in the future here is that the class system is basically all bound to one character, which is a big pro to me because in WoW, one of my biggest complaints is I really like playing different classes, right? I really like switching around and playing different classes and specs, and so much of the content is not account bound. So what ends up happening is that in this game, you basically can change jobs, which is basically just swapping to a different class by swapping your weapon, and everything that you have in this game can basically be bound to one character. This is actually really great because, like I said, it accomplishes basically that account-wide type scenario while still allowing you to play a lot of different aspects of the game via different classes and making it really easy to swap through. And also, it doesn't force you to keep going through the storyline, like the main story quest, 6 times if you want to play 6 different classes, right? You only have to go through it once, then you can kind of level up your other, jobs, your classes, however you want, whatever content you find enjoyable. And I think that that's a really great system, and it's got me really excited for like the later game because we'll be able to play and try different classes and not have to make new characters and go back through the same storyline quests or necessarily even level in the same zones or things like that. So the other thing is that you can kind of see here while we're in combat, there's a GCD type aspect with the actual combat itself that's very similar to WoW. Now the GCD is 2.5 seconds, I believe, in this game. However, you basically have 2 types of spells, and you have a plethora of both. You have abilities or spells that are on the GCD, and then you have ones that are not. Basically, the ones that are not, you can fit in 2 of those spells, I believe. I don't know if this changes later, maybe if you get like a lot of haste or some kind of equivalent, but you basically have the GCD, which is every 2.5 seconds, which is kind of the main gist of your rotation or kind of your big spells. And then you have basically room to fit 2 of the non-GCD abilities within each global cooldown. So what this allows you to do is you actually end up having more inputs than you would have in WoW, even though the GCD is longer, which is a little bit weird, and it kind of takes a little bit of getting used to. And I think this actual combat system won't really start feeling fast until you get later on where you actually have more abilities, because I don't have that many abilities right now. So what ends up happening is if I have 2 of my non-GCD abilities on cooldown, I'm kind of like out of things to click. But I think that will change, as I know that the rotations and the kind of spell priorities, and as you get into the later game, is very, very complicated. That's also something else I'm actually really looking forward to. The actual late game gameplay is much more complex than WoW when it comes to like raiding and things like that. And I think that's actually, oh, we reset that mob. I think that's something that's actually, I'm really looking forward to, because right now, like the raiding in WoW is relatively easy. Obviously retail has more mechanics, is more mechanically intensive than classic, for example. However, both of them are generally your rotation is pretty easy. It's just a few buttons to hit, and that's great. And there's pros to that type of setup as well. However, I'm really looking forward to something that's a little bit higher skill ceiling and is a little more involved as far as the rotation, spell priority, and things like that. And so anyway, I'm really excited and looking forward to that. Now, the last thing I kind of wanted to show you guys is that the class system here. Now, so you can see here, I'm an archer, I'm level 30. All of these are separate class progression bars, basically, right? Class leveling. So these are all the different classes that you can play in the game. They're all categorized by like the type of role that they fit, and you can level all of these independent of each other, all on one character. So you only need to have one character on a server. All your gold is on one character. All your character, your classes, you're all in one guild. Like, you don't have to join your guild on 7 different alts. So all these things make it really easy to kind of, it's all very consolidated and all in one space. I really like that a lot. And then just swap between these. Once you basically learn a new role, you just swap your weapon, and then supposedly it swaps all your abilities. So anyway, hopefully that kind of answers some of your guys' questions and gets you guys kind of a baseline started. If you guys have any questions on this, let me know. I'll post the link to the free trial down below if you guys are interested. But genuinely, I was just kind of curious and trying to fill some time until Shadowlands comes out, and I'm surprisingly enjoying this a lot more than I thought I was going to, and I figured I might as well share it with you guys from my perspective and kind of comparing it and sharing all of the pros and the things that this game I feel like is doing right that I enjoy a lot more than how similar aspects and systems are implemented in WoW. So let me know if you guys have questions. If I said anything incorrect, please correct me down below, because I'm a total noob at this game. I literally don't know hardly anything. But let me know if you guys have questions, and hopefully you guys found this helpful. With that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.